Hi everybody, welcome to another Born to Read from Home. My name is Kasey and I'm filming today inside the McClure Village Library, which is quite exciting. And today I wanted to do something a little different from usual. Rather than our normal songs and rhymes, I just want to take a moment and acknowledge the fact that while I call this program Born to Read, I haven't had any books in it. That's for a simple reason that we're not allowed to read stories and post the videos publicly online for copyright reasons. Not because books aren't important for babies from 0 to 18 months, they really are, and that's why I wanted to take a chance to talk to you about that today. So, the story times that I do with the rhymes and the songs do help with early literacy. Rhyming in particular is one of the ways that babies learn language, and later in life when they are learning to read, knowing what words rhyme and being familiar with rhyming patterns within our language can make it easier for them to learn to read, because if they know how to recognize the word house, it's a lot easier for them to know how to recognize the word mouse. They're very similar, and they may be able to recognize that if they have a good basis in the language before they start reading. Alright? But just because our youngest babies obviously can't read doesn't mean we don't want to read to them. And there are certain things you can do to pick great books for your youngest babies, and there are certain things you can do to make the book sharing experience between you two as best as it can be. So I'm going to walk you through those two things now: how to pick books with your baby and how to read books with your baby. Are we ready? Alright. So when you're picking books for your baby, there's a few things you might want to keep in mind, especially for your very, very youngest babies, like 3 months and under. Never too early to start sharing books with them. But for babies that young, really one of the main things they're learning how to do is to focus their eyes and how to see things. So you do want to look for high contrast images. I like the Panda Pandas here for that. Lots of great black and white imagery. This apple book here, great for that as well. Very high contrast. The only color is red in addition to your black and white. In addition to that, high contrast images will continue to be easier for your baby to understand and parse as they get a little bit older. And I like books like the Stanley series for the thick black outlines and the clear bright colors. Todd Parr is also good for this. They're very engaging and bright illustrations that babies respond well to. Another thing that lots of very young babies enjoy and often respond very positively to in books is actually photographic images, because it looks like what they are used to seeing when they look around them. And in particular, photos of babies and other babies' faces. They love to look at other babies' faces. It helps them learn about their own face. So I've included the Babies and Kitties book as an example of something like this. You can find lots of board books usually with lots of photos of babies in them, and babies really enjoy them. In addition to that, when you're dealing with very young babies, you obviously don't need complicated storylines to keep them engaged. It's a good time to just keep it simple. Find your concept books like Colors, or the Panda Panda book is Feelings. This helps build their vocabulary in certain areas, and it also keeps things very concrete. One of the best things to help with a baby's language development is for the language they're hearing to be concrete and for it to refer to the things that they see in front of them. So if you say the word kite and try to describe a kite to a baby, that's not going to work very well. But if you say, look, a kite, and you point at a kite, they might be able to link those two ideas. What's a kite? Well, it looks like this, right? Great. And if you do want to get into stories, there are two kinds of stories that you might want to focus on for your younger babies. One is very concrete stories that your baby can relate to. So stories about the day in the life of a baby will have lots of things your baby's familiar with in it. I also enjoy, again, the Stanley series for this. The Stanley series will teach your baby about things like the grocery store or the farm. They're very straightforward stories with very little plot, to be honest. And the second thing you can look for in stories is repetition. I've included Goldilocks and the Three Bears here as an example of a story that has a repeated motif. Goldilocks keeps trying 3 things, 1 for each of the 3 bears, and the first 2 she doesn't like, and the third one is always just right. By repeating the same thing over several times in the same story, you create a pattern that your baby can start looking for, and it improves their confidence that they understand what's going on, and it helps them learn what to expect. A lot of classic nursery rhymes are good for this. I do enjoy The Little Red Hen, who through every step of growing wheat and baking bread out of it, asks the other animals for help, and they always say, "Not I!" Or Henny Penny, who runs up to all of her friends shouting, "The sky is falling! The sky is falling!" over and over again. Now that we have talked a little bit about what you're going to look for, what kinds of books you want to look for with your baby, I'd also like to talk to you about how to interact with your baby when you're reading the stories. So let's just start with, there is no wrong way to read a book with your baby. If you're sharing books with your baby, it's a wonderful bonding experience, it's a great learning experience for them, and it should be fun and comfortable for both of you. So the most common way that a parent might share a book with their child would be sitting in your lap together. You put the book in front of you, open it up, and you can read it together. Just like that. That's an easy one. If your baby is too wiggly to sit in your lap, it's just not something they're good at, that's okay. If they're maybe calmer in a rocking chair or a swing, go ahead and put them in their rocking chair or swing, sit down in front of them, facing them, and share that book with them that way. In which case you would have the book facing them so that they can see all of the lovely pictures as you share it with them. Now, when you are reading a book to a young baby, you don't need to read it exactly as it's written. You can make lots of pauses to talk about the pictures, to talk about what's happening, to talk about what words mean, to change the words into words you know your baby is more familiar with. All of these things are great things to do. If you've been teaching them colors and the book you're reading for some reason says violet instead of purple, and you've always been saying purple, just call it purple. Why not? And another thing that I would like to add, whenever you're reading any story to your baby, if there's a word that you're saying and there's also a picture of that thing on the page, point to the thing as you say the word. So in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, there is a mama bear and a papa bear and a baby bear. And we'll point to each of them. It helps solidify that connection between the concept and the sounds that we make, the words that mean that concept. All right. I think I have talked your ear off enough about how to pick some books and how to read some books with your baby, and I hope you do try doing it at home. I miss reading books to all of the babies in story time. And although I haven't done a lot of songs and rhymes today, let's still finish with our goodbye song, because why not? Are we ready to clap our hands and stomp our feet and wave goodbye together? Here we go. This is the way we clap our hands, clap our hands, clap our hands. This is the way we clap our hands at the end of story time. And this is the way we stomp our feet, stomp our feet, stomp our feet. This is the way we stomp our feet at the end of story time. And this is the way we wave goodbye, wave goodbye, wave goodbye. This is the way we wave goodbye at the end of story time. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back next week with a lot more songs and rhymes for you. But thank you for joining me for this educational video as well. See you later. Bye-bye.